there's quite a lot to share with you about this run. The first is that the law of undulation was once again clearly at work, as 2 days prior to this I'd had my despondency run, and then 2 days after this, after resting, I get rewarded with one of the top 3 runs of my life. It was one of my fastest. It was a shade under 48 minutes, but I hadn't gone from the rock, so that was 48 minutes from my turnaround point after leaving the chicken run. So if I adjust for the extra 700 meters of going from the Miller's Rock, it would have been a bit over 50 minutes. But had I not had arm pump and near failure on entering the bay, when I ended up missing a series of about 6 big boys as they stand up. I think there must be a sandbar on the entrance to the bay, and you'll see towards the end of the video that there's 6 big boys that if I'd caught those and stayed on 1 or 2 of them, I'm pretty damn sure that this would have been my first sub 50. But even if I had caught those big bad boys coming into the bay, it wouldn't have counted as a sub 50, as I had not left from the rock. The second point to make is that there was an absolute abundance of runs. You'll note that the conditions weren't clean. There was quite a lot of east in the swell, but it just produced so much choice, to the extent that my first edit resulted in over 11 minutes of footage that by my current standards I would have been comfortable sharing on the platform. This is a 7-minute video. On average, the connected run clips are at about 40 seconds, but there's one that is over 1.5 minutes long, and there's a second that is at 60 seconds long as well. And the last point to note is that of point of view. So this footage appears to demonstrate that the swell is much bigger than it normally is in comparison to my prior videos, whereas in fact that was not the case. The swell was on the smaller side of medium, except for when there's that stand-up feature coming into the bay on the sandbar. But the reason for that is that I'm using a pole mount for my camera that is probably double the length of the one that I normally use. As a consequence of that, there's a little bit of wobble, but this elevated perspective of the camera really gives, in my view, a much more realistic view for non-paddlers of what it's really like out there. So sit back and enjoy the rest of the video. This is the point at which my right arm is about to fail, and is now a minute of footage showing these 5 big bad boys that I'm unable to get hold of, and if I had, I'm pretty sure that I would have shaved another minute and a half off my time. And more importantly, I'm sure that I would have had a Top Gun entry that would eclipse my current top speed of 29 k's an hour. Thanks for joining me for the ride. Have a super day and hope to see you again on the channel. Cheers.